The lunch rush had barely started when the shouting began. Plates clattered, the smell of burnt toast filled the air, and in the middle of the chaos stood a young woman whose trembling hands could barely hold the coffee pot. Her name was Mara Quinn, a 27-year-old waitress at a small roadside diner called Penny's Place. The kind of diner where regulars came for cheap meals and gossip, and where the staff worked twice as hard as they were paid. Her apron was stained, her hair tied in a messy bun, and her eyes, though tired and hollow, still held a trace of quiet determination. But that morning, that fragile spark was about to break. "Are you blind or just stupid?" barked a heavy-set man at the corner booth, slamming his palm on the counter. Coffee had spilled onto his sleeve. "You ruined my shirt. Do you even know what this costs?" Mara froze. Her lips quivered. "I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't mean to." "Sorry doesn't fix this," he yelled louder, drawing the attention of everyone in the diner. A few snickered, some looked away, and one older woman shook her head in disapproval. The manager, Cliff, stepped out from behind the register. "Mara, that's the third mistake this week. What's wrong with you? You're lucky I haven't fired you already." And that was when she said it, the line that made the diner go completely silent. Her voice cracked, raw and small, but every word carried the weight of someone who'd reached their breaking point. "Please, don't kick me," she whispered, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I'm already hurt. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of understanding someone's pain before judging them, take a second to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Midnight Reports." Stories like this remind us how one act of empathy can change everything. Cliff's jaw tightened. He muttered something under his breath and stomped back toward the kitchen, leaving Mara standing there, trembling. The man with the coffee stain scoffed and threw a few bills on the table before storming out. The moment the door closed, Mara turned toward the counter, wiped her face with her sleeve, and forced herself to keep working. The diner's lights flickered, the air smelled of grease, and the faint sound of a country song played from a dusty jukebox, but to Mara, everything felt heavy, muffled, distant. That day, in one of the corner booths by the window, sat a man in a dark gray jacket. He had come in quietly, ordered only a cup of coffee, and had been watching the scene unfold. His name was Ethan Rourke, and though nobody in that diner knew it, he was the CEO of a major restaurant chain, a man worth millions. But lately, he'd grown distant from his employees, his business, and even himself. He had decided to go undercover, visiting random diners his company might one day buy out, trying to understand what real work felt like again. What he saw in Mara that day cut through him in a way numbers and spreadsheets never could. When the rush ended and the diner grew quiet, Ethan noticed Mara sitting alone in the corner, folding napkins mechanically, her fingers red from hot water and cleaning chemicals. Her phone buzzed once, a text from Mom. She glanced at it, sighed, and put it away. Then she slipped her tips from her pocket, just $6 crumpled. Ethan sipped his coffee and made a note in his journal, hard work. No support. Pain behind the smile. The next morning, he came back. And the next. For an entire week, he watched how Mara carried the weight of the world and still managed to say, "Good morning," with a smile. He saw her endure rude customers, cover shifts for sick coworkers, and still slip a free slice of pie to an elderly woman who said she hadn't eaten breakfast. But it wasn't just the struggle he noticed, it was her silence. When others complained, Mara stayed quiet. When others laughed, she listened. When others rested, she worked. One rainy Thursday, Ethan overheard her talking to another waitress in the back. Her voice was tired but sincere. "They're threatening to shut off my electricity again," she murmured. "And I still haven't paid Mom's medical bill. But it's fine. As long as I can keep this job a little longer, I'll figure it out." Ethan looked down at his coffee, the rain tapping against the window, and felt something shift inside him. For the first time in years, he remembered what real struggle looked like, and what real courage sounded like. 2 days later, the diner had its busiest day yet. The local paper had written a small feature on Penny's place, and customers poured in. Cliff barked orders, cooks slammed pans, and the sound of the register never stopped. In the chaos, a tray slipped from a counter and shattered on the floor. Hot soup splashed across Mara's wrist, burning her skin. She gasped in pain but didn't scream. Instead, she bit her lip and kept moving. Cliff saw the mess and snapped, "That's coming out of your paycheck." This time, Ethan stood up. "That's enough," he said firmly, his tone no longer soft or observant. The diner went quiet again. All eyes turned to him. Cliff frowned. "And who are you to tell me how to run my place?" Ethan reached into his jacket, pulled out a small envelope, and placed it on the counter. "Someone who owns places like this," he said calmly. "My name is Ethan Rourke. I'm the CEO of the Rourke Hospitality Group, the one that's been negotiating to buy Penny's place."